Hi guys, my name's Liam Upton and I'm one of the directors for the film Backstabbed, and today I'm going to be answering a few of the questions you may have about the film in general. Well, one of the most inspirational films that we used to help construct our film was The Dark Knight. Now, The Dark Knight is mainly an action film more than it is a thriller. However, I felt like I wanted to bring in action to my own film because I felt maybe it would entice the audience more to watch. Not only that, but The Dark Knight also includes an array of enigmas at the beginning. For example, the clown masks. Everybody in there you assume is just a regular henchman, except later on it's revealed that one of them was the Joker all along. This is the style of enigma I want to create, something that really catches the audience's attention at the very beginning. So that mix of action and enigma really does bring the whole story together. Another film that was really inspirational to us is Snatch. Now, Snatch's opening starts off with you only knowing the characters' names and really why they're there. I mean, the only real information you have to go on is that it's something to do about a diamond. And the only real information you have onto that is a diamond was robbed, and then it immediately cuts on to a transition and a sequence of four men dressed as Jewish believers robbing a bank of the diamond. Now, this is a really important thing because I felt maybe we can take some key elements from this film to our own. So for example, again, an enigma, it's really a major convention when it comes to our film, and I feel it could really help elaborate and really entice the audience into the film more. And I say one of another main films that really inspired us is The Equalizer. Now, The Equalizer doesn't include any action at the start, it's all really more of a chill, more just introduce the character and what the character's about. But I feel that's a really key thing and something I really like, because sure it doesn't include action, but it does draw the audience in with the fact that you know nothing about this character other than his tidy, quick and efficient lifestyle that he lives, hence by the motif he has when he likes to time himself in everything he does daily. Now, one of the key themes in a normal thriller action genre film is really the plot of revenge and the threat against the protagonist. And this is something I stuck to because I felt like it's something that the audience really expects out of the film. I mean, you can't really expect anything other than a form of revenge, which is what I felt it was best to keep it. Now, the importance of the atmosphere is that it has to feel tense, suspenseful, and really does feel like the protagonist is up against all odds. And this is something that I stuck to throughout, because I felt that maybe this also is an important convention that really does help draw the audience into the film and really gets them invested in the story and the mystery behind it. Now, the typical hero versus villain story when it comes to a thriller, you expect to be something like the detective has to catch a criminal and put that criminal to justice. However, in our film, we flipped the roles around this time, and instead of that, we went against the convention and put the audience through the perspective of the criminals. And the criminals trying to escape a corrupt detective, and the corrupt detective really doesn't want any loose ends around. He wants to tie up as much as possible, and that means killing anyone that stands in his way. Now, the antagonist itself, which in this case the antagonist I'm talking about is the corrupt detective, he's similar to the antagonist in the film Seven. Now in the film Seven, the antagonist really does, even though he's a criminal, he loves to toy with the protagonists. He likes to play them around like they're his toys. He likes to mess with their minds, you know, cause psychological damage. Really likes to play around with them and see what makes them tweak and twitch. And this is something that we've done similar with. See, the antagonist we made is similar in the sense that we wanted our antagonist to also toy with the protagonist, you know. This whole idea that all along he's been planning everything and that in the end they're all just his pawns for him to play with. Now, we have a protagonists kind of go against the usual like lifestyle that you would expect someone from a life of crime to come from. Usually when you think of someone from a life of crime you expect, oh, they had a bad upbringing and this bad upbringing caused them to live to a life of crime. However, our protagonists in our film come from more noble backgrounds, law enforcement, emergency services, military. They come from much more prouder professions that people can really look up to. However, we kind of took a similar style to that of the film Collateral, where we wanted to have a good guy go bad. Now, in this situation and meaning, I bring the meaning that the protagonists used to be, really had really great honourable professions that people looked up to, but throughout the film you'll learn that in their backstory that something happened to them both that really caused them to go from being a good guy to the life of crime and being considered a bad guy by society. Now, we follow the typical gender roles, really, like the gender roles of, well, usually most people who come from the military are mainly male. It's not to say that females can be in the military, but you usually think military man or military personnel is a man. Same with criminals. When you think criminals or murderers, you don't think, someone who's female. You mainly think of someone who's male. And we stuck to this stereotype that males are dominantly going to take on these type of professions. Yes, I feel that this was a very important thing when it came to opening the film. We wanted to have it deliberately left open for the narrative because we wanted to create an immediate enigma from the very beginning. This way it can help draw in an audience's attention a bit more. That doesn't mean to say that we'll be keeping the audience in the dark for the whole film. You will get to see past events that led up to the beginning of the film to see how the protagonists got to where they are. Not only that, we're going to show the backstories of the protagonists and also of the antagonists. We'll show the backstories of all the main characters so you can have an understanding as to how they all got here. Now, we feel that this is a really important part of our film because it can really show the audience the contrast and the change in attitudes that all the characters had from the past to the present during the film. This way it allows the audience to understand that these people act the way they do because of what happened to them in the past, and we feel this is really key and really helps draw in an audience to our film. Now, the real key thing we wanted is that from the very beginning we wanted to have the audience questioning from the very start, hence why we wanted it to be an enigma, because an enigma is a main convention when it comes to the film that is a thriller genre. And I feel that we did successfully create an enigma and made the audience question everything from the very beginning. And I'm quite proud of the outcome of the opening itself. One of the ways we did this is through the use of mise-en-scène. Now, when it came to the protagonists, the thing the audience will pick up on is what they're wearing. Work trousers, shirts, and the key thing to note is goggles and masks. Now, these goggles and masks are quite an important feature because it shows that the protagonists are expecting danger ahead in the form that they don't really want to cause any problems for themselves later on, so they've disguised themselves. Another key piece of outfit that one of the protagonists is wearing is a tack vest, and this shows that they're preparing to get shot at so that the audience can also expect there to be action and danger ahead. Now, another key thing that shows it's action and there'll be danger is the use of props. And by props I mean more the guns they're holding. The protagonists have assault rifles and pistols. This shows that they're prepared for the fight. Also, the fact that the mid-shot of them at the door stacking up ready to breach shows that they're prepared. They're getting prepared because they know that what they're about to do is going to put them both in danger and they need to both look out for each other. Now, when it came to the antagonist and his henchmen, most importantly, is that his henchmen are only carrying pistols. They don't have tack vests. They've got just normal, nice dress shirt, tie, normal nice trousers, nice shoes. They're not really preparing for a fight. All they think they're doing is just going to be walking around, making sure no one breaks in. The guns, in this case, their pistols, do show that they're not really just they are a threat. But they're not really that threatening compared to the protagonists, where they're holding assault rifles. They also have pistols. They're more prepared for a fight, whereas the antagonist's henchmen are not prepared for a fight whatsoever. Another way we showed that a key theme, that it was action, it was going to be dark, it was going to be what people expect out of a thriller, is the colour palette. Now, we all wanted for our film for it to be dark. We wanted dark, depressing, dull, cold colours. We didn't really want to contrast it and try bring across the whole idea of danger with vivid, bright, warm colours. We didn't really want to bring that because those type of colours really make them feel more happy, more excited. You know, they feel more welcome. Whereas with dark, dull, cold colours, it makes the audience feel a bit more detached, more unwelcome, more unnerved, and they feel more suspenseful because of it. Now, we wanted to keep the audience immersed as much as possible. So it was important that we got the editing right. We wanted to have continuity editing because continuity editing is a common editing used in films across all genres. It's a way to keep the audience immersed and not break realism. It's to make the audience feel like they're a part of the film. Whereas if you wanted to have opposite that, you'd have discontinuity editing. But this is a feature and a style of editing that we didn't really want to bring in. The only real part of the opening that breaks the immersion for the audience is possibly the jump cut between the protagonists and the antagonist, the butcher, as he's torturing one of his victims. Now, an example of how we've done continuity editing is with when they actually the protagonists breach through the door at the start. We made a match on action so that it would keep the audience immersed, but then it'd also show it from the other side of the door. We felt that this was done nicely, and this really did keep with the immersion and did stick with continuity editing quite well. A key thing I see from quite a few thriller films is the use of establishing shots. Two films in particular that I researched, The Dark Knight and The Equalizer. They both used an establishing shot to establish the location of the city that this film will be taking place in. Now, in comparison to our film, it was a bit different. Instead of having an establishing shot, we had more of a long shot of the side of the building. This is to show the audience give the audience an idea of kind of what they're breaking into, but not really give them the whole establishing shot of this is the whole area that the film will be based in. Another key thing that I see quite used in quite a few films, not just action films but also thrillers, quite a few other ones, is the use of low and high angles. Now these can be used anywhere where you want to display differences in power. For example, Quentin Tarantino, that's quite a motif for him. He loves to have low angles in his films. And for example, if you wanted to make the antagonist more powerful than the protagonists, you could have a point of view shot of the antagonist looking down at the protagonist. You'd have to make it a high angle so that it would look down at them, and behind them would be the floor to show that they're weak, defenseless and less powerful. Whereas if you wanted to show more powerful, you could have the protagonist's point of view and have it as a low angle to show the antagonist, and in the background is the sky to show he's more powerful, more stronger. And it really does bring the audience in aligned emotion with that of the protagonists. Another key thing I picked up on in thrillers is close-ups. Now, close-ups in films allow people to see specific details that can help identify characters, whether it's a motif of theirs or if it's an important feature or detail that they may need to know about later. For example, in this case, The Equalizer. In the film The Equalizer, the protagonist has a stopwatch, a digital watch, and he likes to time himself doing daily tasks. And every time he finishes timing himself or begins timing himself, it likes to have a close-up of him starting or stopping his stopwatch. And I feel that this is really key to show the audience. This was a key thing for The Equalizer because later on in the film, he really used his stopwatch as a way to show when action was begin. The audience could assume, oh, he started the stopwatch, meaning that whatever he's about to do, he wants to do effectively and quickly, even if it means fights. So this was a good way that The Equalizer showed the audience when action was going to start and when it was going to end. And I feel our film had successfully, in its own way, showed the audience that it was an action thriller, but also had the theme of crime to it as well.